I give you my word. I will always level with you.
Hey everybody, I want to do something a little different today. I wanted to show the military installation of our president at the inauguration puppet show recently and give you my take on it. It's Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. It's inauguration day. They have 25 to 26,000 troops stationed in Washington, D.C. And they're installing a leader today, Joe Biden, under military force. This is the type of thing that communist countries do, that fascist countries do, and we're supposed to be a republic, democratic republic, and they have to use military force. Now, if leaders elected freely by the democratic process, one would think you wouldn't have to militarize the zone to install an elected official.
He looks like a Joe Biden wind-up doll with somebody else's words coming out.
To carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have
The big
for
screen
more than 2 centuries.
is behind
As
him.
we look ahead in our uniquely American way.
This is a man that's known for not speaking his own words.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Janice the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania and who come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous. I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it. Cannot measure the health of our children,
the health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Once-in-a-century virus that silently stalks the country. It's taken as many lives in 1 year as America lost in all of World War II.
COVID fear rhetoric.
Millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed.
He speaks about jobs lost and businesses closed, but that's due to the policies set in place by the Democratic governors.
A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
A cry for survival comes from the planet itself.
This is the idea they have that there's going to be climate change or global warming or whatever they choose to call it these days. The climate changes over time, regardless of what humans do.
Now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must confront and we will defeat.
So this is where they call people that disagree with anything they say domestic terrorists. So just because I'm a white man, I'm a domestic terrorist today. This is great rhetoric coming into the presidency.
To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words.
That was the truest statement he made of the entire speech.
It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy. Unity. Unity.
He said unity, united, unify, a bunch of times, but really their only direction is to unify under their causes.
Bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause.
They're not the causes that are for the benefit of the American people. They're for the benefit of, well, really the deep state, if you want to get into it. Big tech, big money, all those people that are going to get rich off of his policies and bought the election for him.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
Uniting to fight the foes we face. With unity, we can do great things, important things. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. And the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. Show the way of unity. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos.
Chaos.
Let's begin to listen to one another again.
Listen to one another again.
And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured.
They've been manufacturing facts through the science, through this whole COVID pandemic thing.
America has to be better than this. And I believe America is so much better than this. Just look around.
There are no citizens there to listen to the speech.
Thousands of protesters tried to block brave women marching for the right to vote. Rural versus urban. Or rural versus urban.
Gap-free candidacy was never an option.
And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans.
Can we still disagree?
Our strength to persevere through this dark winter.
There's more COVID-related fear rhetoric.
We're entering what may be the toughest and deadliest period of the virus. Look, folks, the whole swamp. All my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here. And will lead not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. Look, you all know we've been through so much in this nation. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic. Those 400,000.
He goes on to talk about gender, which is against house rules.
Fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters.
It's more fear rhetoric.
A raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism.
There's only a racial separation because of the bubble sheet you fill out on those end of grade tests when you're in school.
A climate in crisis, America's role in the world.
Grandpa Joe will tell you stories and say a poem.
We'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story. A story that might sound something like a song that means a lot to me. It's called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, at least for me, and it goes like this. The work and prayers of century have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say?
Let's go right away, go somewhere today. Let's be together and stay. Let's go together today, right away. Let's be together today.
Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you.
Listening to this old guy speak makes me want to spew.
Then when our days are through, our children and our children's children will say of us, they gave their best. They did their duty. They healed a broken land. My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began. I will always level with you. Together, we shall write an American story, of hope, not fear, of unity. Thank you, America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Garth Brooks to perform Amazing Grace.
Oh my God. Kind of a hip rendition. Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. This young lady did a nice job, and if you'll notice at the end, she didn't need a teleprompter.
We do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken.
Biden said that in his speech that this was America's day. He said that this wasn't a win for a certain candidate, that this was a win for democracy.
I just wanted to point out how hard he swallowed after he said it was a win for democracy.
This was a win for democracy.
Biden said it was a win for democracy, and there's military trucks in the background of that reporter. It just seems to me that it's a win for communism in this country, not democracy. If you have to police the Capitol to install a leader in the United States, that is not democracy anymore. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like my video, ring the bell. Thanks.